become everything I never wanted you to be. Run. Run far away from me.
Hey!
Hey,
Yeah?
Chris. Yes, there he is. There he is, the man of the hour. How are you, Chris?
I am excellent now.
It's an honor to be here. And I was there in the audience when you gave your speech, the well-deserved award that you won.
Oh, thank you. So you didn't fall asleep during my speech or anything like Jeff was trying to infer?
Are you kidding me? No, I did not. I didn't fall asleep at all. I was hanging on every single word that you said, you know, and I was kind of, I'm not even joking right now, but I was like, why are they playing that music? What is this? He doesn't need an underscore. Let's let him go. Let my man's go. What are you doing?
Little did they know, I took that as encouragement.
I noticed in your speech, you said something that caught my attention, and you said that you almost didn't take this particular role, and I was kind of curious about that, because I'm like, I feel like you're such an this role, like I feel like it reintroduced you to a new audience, and so I'm kind of curious, what was it that almost made you not want to take this role?
Well, when I read the script and just the scope of it, I was like, this is a $200 million film. Like, it's going to go straight to offer, and I'm sure it's either going to go through Denzel or, at that time, God bless his soul, Chad or Idris or, I was like, if they have a top 20 list, I'd be happy if I was 21 on it. So why are you sending me this? You know this is straight to offer. And so that's when Tanya broke it to me, my agent, who I love. She kind of soft pedaled it like, so it's actually a game. And I just went berserk. I went ballistic because I don't feel comfortable like doing like voice work. It's like a medium that I've never, it's just disorienting to me. And I don't have a million voices. I have two, deep and deeper. That's it. And so once she had calmed me down, she's like, no, they say it's going to be filmed. It's like you're going to be on a real set. The only difference is you have to wear, at that time they're called motion capture suits, and it's just like you're on a regular set. And I was like, bullshit. So she convinced me to at least go see through the audition process if it was what they were saying, and if it carries on, then she said, then make an informed decision on whether you're going to turn it down or accept whatever. So I get to the audition, and it's unlike any other audition I've ever been on. So, in a standard film or television audition, this is it right here. You set the camera there, and, either you have a reader or you don't. And they ask you not to move too much. Mm-hmm. In this, I was like running all over the space and acting like I was, rowing boats and throwing rocks and all kinds of stuff. So then I was even angrier. So she said, no, it's like they said you were really great and blah, blah. And so we then got the call to do a chemistry test. And then I was like, what the hell? Like, no film or television thing I've ever done. Okay, maybe twice in 30 years, I've had to do chemistry tests. So I get to the chemistry test. They don't really tell me who it's with. They just send me the material. So it's like, okay, it's supposed to be. And at this point, my son had read some of the sides, and he said, I think this might be God of War. But then there was a kid. So my son said, no, it's not. It's not God of War. He doesn't have a kid. So I still didn't know really what it was. I get to the chemistry test, and this little runt of a kid is there.
But you have changed. You're not a monster.
That is exactly what I am.
Not to me.
But he was so engaging and so intelligent, and we just hit it off immediately. So our scenes weren't even like we had just met. Like, our relationship was there from the very first words. Yeah. So then it went from there, and I got to see, like, we actually did the chemistry test in a volume, not the volume we ended up using. But it was, and so, the rest is history. Sonny still says, hey, I should be getting 10%. I'm responsible for your career. I'm the one who said I had the best chemistry with you.
Yeah, no, the chemistry is obviously there. It's interesting, you know, I guess the way this all played out, because like I know you're no stranger to you know, voice acting in video games. I mean, you were D-Mob in friggin' Def Jam. I remember that. I remember that game.
You punks are all the same. No skill.
But I'm pretty sure it's vastly different. Like I'm assuming that you were probably just in like a VO booth for that. In this one, you're putting on an entire suit. You got a helmet. You got polka dots on your face. Like, what was that experience like when you?
Now act natural.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious. Like, what was that experience like for you?
Dory, our great cinematographer. In the mornings, we'd have a table read, and then we would start rehearsing the scenes that we were going to shoot the following day. So Dory would always stand back and say, okay, let me see what your natural instincts are and how you guys feel and what you want to do. And so we'd go through it, and then Dory would go, that was great. Okay, now here's what you have to do. So there would be specific places we had to be at, specific dialogue, and you know, I had never done this whole no cut thing. So I wasn't used to, if you fumble a line, you know, usually you just pick it up. You say, hey, I'm just gonna take it from such and such. You start from alpha. You start from square one. There are no pickups. Like, every scene has to be perfectly clean. I guess the first thing that really surprised me was how much more exhausted I was than doing live action. Because, you know, live action, you do, you know, a couple takes and then you move on. You know, you do a wide and close-ups and 2 shots, 3 shots. But there's like sometimes half hour, 2 hours between setups. So most of a day on set in live action is downtime. That's not the way it is in game, not the way we should doing now, cinematics and performance capture. It's literally, you go until you get it, and then if it's perfect, which it rarely is, you know, first 10 times, then you got to do another perfect one for safety, which may take God knows how many, because of the intricate choreography, the different emotional beats. And so everyone's emotional beats have to be within one shot. So if one character is just a little bit off emotionally or timing wise or whatever, you got to start all over. So it was exhausting, because mentally, besides whatever emotional work you had done, you still had to be very aware of the choreography. And it's actually a fantastic acting exercise in being able to stay in the moment and listen to people. And in the beginning, it was quite a daunting process.
I can imagine. I mean, especially like having to do it, you know, over and over again. Like do you know, a second one for safety. And I feel like you also have to kind of like suspend your imagination a little bit, because like your scene partner is also in this weird suit and polka dots on their face with a camera in front of their face. So I feel like it takes a lot more concentration for you as an actor. To kind of like focus, to kind of like imagine that you're not seeing any of that, but you're seeing, you know, the character. You're seeing Atreus. You know, you're seeing Freya. You're seeing the character in front of you.
That's one of the things that I actually found easier.
Really?
Because very rarely in live action, especially in your close-ups, do you actually get to look at the person. You have to look at a dot in the matte box of the camera. So this I found kind of liberating, because you had to block out everything else but the person you were talking to, their eyes, their face, because everything else was a distraction. You know, so it, to me, actually made it easier to lock into other actors, because you actually got to use them and what they were giving you.
Right. I never actually thought about it that way. Now I want to go.
I mean, Stargate, you know, the thing that you do is you try to get people to break during the close-ups, right? Okay. So we got to the point on Stargate where we very rarely did our close-ups with the actual other actor there, because we would just with each other. Yeah. So this, to actually go full speed every take with the actual person playing the character, it was almost a blessing, because for the last 5 years of Stargate, we literally very rarely, unless it was like super emotional or something like that, we didn't use the other actor, because we knew they were going to try to sabotage and not in any malicious way, just in fun, you know.
Right, yeah. And also, like, you all had the luxury of, like, you could actually break and, you know, it doesn't have to be like one long take, fortunately, you know, and,
Right.
but like, yeah. But I'm so curious, Chris, I gotta know this, like, just being like a longtime fan of the franchise, I'm so curious, because you said, I want to talk about the voice of Kratos. Now, you said you only have 2 voices, Deep and Deeper.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, how did you find the voice of Kratos, and was any of it like inspired by, you know, the previous games? You know, of course, you know, T.C. Carson was the original voice of Kratos. I'm kind of curious, how did you find the voice?
For me, it was I let it find me. Not many people know this. I actually went and did vocal training for like months before we actually started, but it was with a British accent.
Okay.
So
A British Kratos, wow.
so I guess there was some miscommunication somewhere down the road, but so we meet like I can't remember, it's 2 or 3 times a week, and this is for probably 2 or 3 months. And our first day on set, we're doing our first take, and I see like people are like whispering and talking. And then Corey walks over to me and says, "Was that a British accent?" And I said, "Apparently not a very good one, if you have to ask me."